hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading of the week of June 1st through June 7th. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and influences of the week. Questions, comments, feedbacks down below. Feedback down below. God, I can't speak today. Same 3 decks that you guys are familiar with, all shuffled and ready to go. The monthly reading is out already on my channel, so go ahead and check that out. I'm hoping to see some of the same themes. It was a positive reading, so we like that for June. And I think that's it, guys. Let's see what we got going on. All right, what do we need, guys? We need to be flexible this week. We need to be adaptable. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this. It's just, this is basically saying that maybe some things will not go our way. So we need to be flexible. We need to be resilient. We need to be adaptable with whatever comes our way. Doesn't feel huge, doesn't feel major, but, you know, maybe plans get thwarted or rescheduled or something like that. Action needed, femme fatale in the shadow, inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. Wow, okay. All right, in the shadow, action needed. All right, so let's talk about the other half of the femme fatale, which is attachment to money and power. So we need to take action on that. Okay, so how do I say this, guys? This is basically saying that we need to attach to money and power. That's basically what it's saying. So, and we need to take action on that. So we need to get close to power. We need to get close to money. God, what's a good example for this? A good example for this is, it's not bad. It's basically just saying, like, we need to gosh, I'm having such a hard time saying this. Okay, we need to be in that circumference. We need to be in that circle. We need to be in that radius is I think is what I want to say. So gosh, guys, put it down below if this makes sense to you as I massage this out and try to figure this out to explain it in the correct way. Is you need to schmooze with people. Okay, so maybe you are in sales and you need to, there's this very, very powerful, expensive client that you want their business. So you have to wine and dine them. You have to laugh at their jokes when it's not funny. You have to do those things, like to land the contract, to land the client. Does that make sense? It's not like, you know, nobody's judging you for doing that. Sometimes you have to do that, right? And that's what it's basically saying. It's trying to say, like, use your charm, make sure you like, it's okay to be in the vicinity, I think maybe that was the word I was looking for before, of money and power, and do what you need to do to close that deal or get what you need to get for like a better cause or like a bigger picture kind of situation. Now, this could also be, because it's the femme fatale, so the other side of this could be that you use your sensuality and your flirtiness and that kind of thing to get what you want, okay? So, guys, I'm just the messenger, okay? I'm just the messenger, all right? So this is what Spirit is saying, is that we need to take action on. I don't know what this means. I can't relate this to my life right now, okay? The week hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will. If it does, like, I'll come back and I'll let you guys know. I promise I will. I'll put in the comments. Anybody's brave enough to let me know down below how it resonates with them or what has happened and transpired this week, you know, that would be wonderful. But that's what it's saying. That's what the energy is coming through as. we got to do what we got to do is kind of like the attitude that's kind of coming through here. Very interesting, but that's what's happening. And yeah, we need to, it's under action needed, so it's going to happen. Okay. You know, maybe you've been procrastinating going out with this client, you know, where you really need their business because you know that, you know, they want to go out all night and go to the casino and drink, you know, 10 shots and, you know, get wild and crazy, and you really don't want to be doing that. That's just my example. That's the best example I can come up for with this energy. I won't give an example for the other one, but you guys can use your imagination. And yeah, do what you got to do. All right, let's move on. I think I feel comfortable enough leaving it there. Okay, issue. Imagination. Okay, so we have issues with imagination. So if you're doing something creative this week, maybe you're having a hard time with coming up with something, with an idea. Your imagination's not working the best. Maybe you're cloudy. No pun intended. But cloudy with, you know, thinking about how you want your life to be. You know, as far as like imagining what your life could look like. Maybe you have issues of like really understanding that in the future and you're not sure, you're cloudy about it. That could be it. So yeah, your imagination, your juices aren't flowing up there. You know, you're not being as imaginative as usual. Not being as creative as usual. What do we have challenges with? Here and now. Okay, so challenges with staying present. We might be scattered-brained. We might be all over the place. We might be future tripping. We might be thinking about the past a lot. Sometimes when our mind is there, we're not necessarily thinking present. Definitely could be future tripping coming off of the imagination. What I just said, trying to imagine what life looks like, you know, going forward, or what your future looks like. So the challenge is staying present. That makes sense. So try to just think about today, getting through today, that kind of thing. Change. We have King in the shadow, excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. Okay, feeling entitled. What's changing is that we are feeling. Guys, what a week. What a week for the ego. Okay, so basically it's saying that we are maybe feeling a little bit more entitled than usual. It could be us. I mean, this could be someone else too. This could definitely feel like, you know, somebody feels entitled maybe at work or like in your relationship, or have kind of an attitude towards you around that, where they feel like they, like where they feel like they can, I don't want to say like boss you around, kind of boss you around, like they do whatever they want, that kind of thing. I do want to say I think it's more us. It is under the change law, and it's usually about how we're changing, our environment is changing. So we might be feeling like we're more. And by the way, it's not like we can't think of these shadows as like, you know, it's just the darker parts of us, you know. It's not the, you know, it's not terrible. You know, everybody feels entitled at one point in their life, you know, to something. But yeah, so this is like changing. So you feel like something is owed to you. Like that's not a bad thing. Where you feel like, you know, you're owed something. You feel like you, yeah, it could be like you feel like you earned it, for sure. I know that doesn't really always go with entitled, but like it almost feels like you feel like you should get that job because of something that maybe you did, or you feel like you're next in line and that should go to you, or something like that. Like there's something kind of here that's like, you're saying like you're the rightful owner, and like you should be the leader, you should be doing this, like you feel like it's like owed to you. So to sum that up, it feels like that's changing, meaning like, okay, so you can look at it this way, like, you are changing how you look at the situation about it. Oh my God, that's not even really a sentence. You are changing how you feel towards it. So if you feel like you are, because you've been there for a long time and you feel like you're supposed to be the person that's next in line for a promotion, but somebody else gets it, I feel like those thoughts about it are changing. So maybe you do find some humility and you're like, maybe they were the better person for the job, you know, even though I've been here for X, Y, and Z, you know, like a long time. Like I feel like you find peace around it, and I feel like you might get a lesson about how it's, you know, you're not entitled to something, or how you're not meant to lead this particular thing. Guys, put it down below if this is making sense with anybody about something, because it's, again, another one with weird energy. These archetype cards in the shadow, they always get a little tricky, but yeah, so yeah, I feel like that's changing. Like I feel like your attitude is changing, I want to say. Your attitude about it is changing. Your mood about it is changing. Where you feel like, you know, okay, maybe I'm not entitled to this, or I'm not owed this, or this is not how it's going to be. And you kind of accept defeat in that way, but also too, you could be knocked down a peg or two. So guys, I'm not gonna lie, this could be like a demotion of some kind, I will say. Not the best one for change, I know, but I'm just telling you what I'm getting here. And then if it's referring to someone else, maybe you see somebody get their karma, I want to say. Somebody else falls from grace. Somebody else, you know, gets what is coming to them, or you humble somebody else, or somebody humbles you. So there's something about that where, you know, somebody's trying to be a leader, but you get, you know, you get humbled real quick. Is like the best way I can kind of sum up that energy. And so that's changing. So, you know, I mentioned the monthly earlier. You know, there was something in there with positive karma, but karma is karma, right? There could be, it's neutral, okay? And this feels like it's the other way around, okay? So, it's, karma is really just the way of the universe. What you put out is what you get back, so. Everything always evens itself out at the end of the day. All right, I think I spent too much time on that. I hope that makes sense. Let me know down below if it doesn't. But that was another tough one. Focus. We have waves. Okay, so things go in waves. So it says focus on the waves. So I will say this. I think it means more so like if you get hit with like a wave of inspiration, capitalize on that. It's saying whatever comes in waves, like whatever, maybe my ADHD people would understand this, whatever you hyperfixate on, the hyperfixation of the moment, go with that. Go with the waves, right? If you get an intuitive feeling, go with that, right? That's what it's saying. It's saying ride the waves. If something is of interest to you, focus on that, is basically what that's saying, right? Something to focus, so make that a priority. So something might kind of come out of the blue, or maybe something, because it's waves, so waves are like they come and they go. So maybe it's something that was previously of interest to you, comes back into focus for you. Could be that as well. Reflect, breathe. All right, another card that's basically telling us to slow down, but this is the reflect. It's basically saying like breathe, take a nap, take a break, take a breath. So reflect on pausing, reflect on being in the present moment, right? Why do we have such a hard time with being in the present moment? This is definitely a week to start up meditation again. If there is ever a week, it's this week. Reflect on why you can't be still, why you can't sit still, why you have to be busy all the time. Things like that we need to reflect on. So that's a big one, I feel. All right, responsibilities, God, benevolence and compassion, recognizing the eternal force within yourself and others. Okay, so this is recognizing your own power. So that's your responsibilities. What a beautiful message there. So it's saying like you are responsible for you. You are powerful. You can do it. You got this. So remember that. That's your responsibilities. So it's also asking in a way to be a little bit more independent. You can go it alone. You can do it, without any additional help kind of situation. All right, money and finances. We have Eagle Vision. All right, so this is kind of similar to the imagination. So money, finances, and career, it's kind of saying like, what is your vision for your career? What is your vision for your money and finances? So this is definitely a time to look at money and see if you need to reinvest somewhere. You need to open up an account somewhere. You need to look at your maybe retirement funds, your index funds or whatever, your investing portfolio. You need to think about money and think about what you want to be doing with your money. So I can see why there's conflicting things here because and why it's challenging to stay present is because spirit is like asking you to also look to the future, right? But also stay present at the same time. So I understand the conflicting energies. But things are happening this month where we have to think about the future. And that could very much well be that things are moving forward in life, and that's a positive thing. So, we're finally at a place where we can start to look at the future a little bit more. And that's a positive thing. But again, if we do too much future tripping, and just try to plan our lives down to the minute detail, I could see how that could bring on anxiety and more wasted energy. So yeah, it's a fine balance. Surprise, higher power. What did I say? I said this is a good week for meditation. If you do that, possibly, so this is higher power, so basically a surprise, so we feel more connected than usual. Maybe you meditate and you really get to a place of like you're feeling real connected. I remember those days. It's been a while for me. We feel really connected to spirit. Maybe you go on a trip and you go on a hike and you feel really connected to spirit when you're in nature, but it's a surprise, right? You maybe you haven't had like a metaphysical experience in a really long time, and you have one this week or something like that. Something makes you feel connected more to a higher power, to more of a spiritual connection of some kind, and I see that as like a positive thing. So, but it's under surprise, so it's going to come out of, it almost feels like it comes out of nowhere. All right, friends, we have divine child, innocence, purity, and redemption. Suggests a special connection with the divine. Okay, so the innocence, purity, and redemption. Okay, so this is really about like the purity of your friendships, the purity of your connections, the purity of your community. So like you might connect with your friends oh God, why can't I speak today? You might connect with your friends about the good old days is what I'm trying to say. So there might be like a lot of nostalgia coming through here. Also, this could be like connecting with childhood friends could also be part of this. This could also be about like reminiscing about like so it's saying purity. So something may have tainted your relationship. So you might be thinking about, maybe there was like a big betrayal in your friendship, or just something has changed in your friendship and you're thinking about how it was before the event happened or before things changed. I see it as like a very, as the card says, innocent and pure. So you are thinking about the good old days, and everything has its light and its shadow, and nostalgia is one of them, and I don't feel like it's necessarily like you're in the shadow of this where it's like you continue to think about your childhood and how things used to be, and it makes you really depressed about it, like that kind of thing. I think it's nostalgia in the positive way, in the more light way, where it's like, yeah, that makes me feel good thinking about that, that old time that I used to have with my friend or my old friend, or whatever it is. So I see it as like something that's just very, warms the heart kind of situation. Romantic connection, we have Dandelion Healing. What a nice card. So something is healing within your romantic connection. Maybe the communication is getting better. Maybe the PDA is getting better. Maybe you guys are fighting less. Maybe you're healing together from a loss. I don't know what it is that you guys are going through, but I feel like you're going through it together. And if there's a rift or some kind of disconnect in the relationship, it's connecting, becoming whole again, healing. And so that's a positive thing. All right, what's important? All that glitters. Okay, so it's important to remember not all that glitters is gold. And so this is such a good one to have combined with where the Child Divine in the Friends section is, because that's where nostalgia can get dicey, is because we can remember, we can reminisce, I guess is the word I'm looking for, about maybe like an easier time or a better time. And maybe it wasn't necessarily better. It just, it was what it was at the time. And then like, that's it. You know what I mean? So you can wish for a time that will never come. I mean, not maybe, but a time that will never be again, And so maybe you wish for that old life, but just remember it's important that all that glitters isn't gold. Okay? Now, outside of nostalgia, this could be just like being envious of other people's lives or what's going on in their lives or their things or whatever it is. Just remember, the grass isn't always greener. Okay? The grass thrives where you water it. I think that's the additional statement. Hopefully that resonates, but yeah, okay. Health and wellness, we have Midas Miser. Oh, okay. We actually got this on the monthly, I believe. Sorry if there's spoilers, but we got it in a different section. But it says entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything to gold, delight in sharing life's riches. So yeah, this is being about, about being abundant, wanting to share your riches, wanting to spend money or time or resources. And so it's under health and wellness. So you want to share, maybe you pay for a friend's personal training because you had an amazing personal trainer and you want them to get fit just like you got fit, and so you pay for them. There's something along the lines where you share your wealth. You're very abundant in your wealth, very prosperous with your wealth, or it could just, maybe you're going to be the person that is the personal trainer, and you're like, I'm going to train my friend for free. Like there's some kind of abundance, of energy, resources, money that you're able to give out in the health and wellness section here. So like, that's why I'm using personal trainer. Paying it forward to somebody, like something along those lines. Also too, this also says like entrepreneurial creative ability to turn anything to gold. Anything that you have skill-wise that's creative or entrepreneurial in the health and wellness space could absolutely start making you money this week, I will say, for sure. It could be that if you're like a health coach, you're a yoga instructor, you're an independent therapist, like you might be able to do some kind of side gig or start some kind of wellness business or something like that, and do really well with it. So yeah, it's abundance in this area. I like that. That's a good one. It's always a good card to get that way in the light. Overall outcome, we have focus. All right, so it's asking us to focus and really double down, especially by the end of the week into the weekend, where it's saying, get your head down straight, be prepared for the weekend, that kind of thing, which I like. Yeah, guys, pretty decent week. I like it. I do like it. The action needed and the change are interesting energies. I'm not going to try to sum them up again, but, go back and listen to them if you need a second listen, because I really try to interpret the energies as I see fit in the moment. So I appreciate you guys sticking with it. So yeah, all right, guys. What a nice first week of June. Again, check out the monthly for a more comprehensive reading of the month, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.